Talking about Sue Sylvester, we learned in this episode that she hasn't had a solid meal since 1987. Mm-hmm. Jane, can you comment as to whether she's not actually a bad person? Is she just hungry?
I think she has a blood sugar issue. Yeah, she's starving.
Maybe does anyone have a sandwich?
Yeah.
That could solve a lot of issues, I think, for Mr. Schuester if she were to just eat a little.
Have a little something to eat.
Yeah.
Like a cookie.
What is your take on Sue? And I mean, obviously, we've seen a softer side to her with her sister, and we've seen glimpses of that. But do you think that at the end of the day, is she a good person? Is she a bad person? Is she someone?
She's a warrior, and she always needs battle. And if there isn't one in front of her, she will create it. So that's why she keeps retreating to the "I will destroy that club," and they're not doing anything really to get in her way. But she will contrive it. She will, she needs an enemy, and she's chosen them. She's, focused her eyes on the Glee Club, and they get it.
Jane and Matthew, how are those scenes with all of the hair jokes? Because I think they are so outrageously funny.
Well, we found out last week that the reason she has such a problem with his hair is because she's jealous.
As she should be.
She should be. He puts Lubriderm in his hair. That's how he gets it like that. He does.
Now, though?
It's all 3 squirts of Lubriderm in his hair.
It's all fresh, natural berries and juices.
Yeah.
Matthew, when you get those scripts and you see, oh man, more hair jokes, what do you think when you see?
I love it. I think I'm such a fan of that storyline, the hair storyline, I guess.
Right.
But Will Schuester's going to get his revenge. Mm-hmm. We'll see that. The audience already did. Oh, last episode.
Oh, but you get more. You get even better revenge in a couple of episodes.
I like the Florence Henderson look that you got going on.
Yeah. I pay extra for that.
Matthew has a small trail of ants. You can't see it, but climbing up the back of his neck right now.
You should talk.
It's cute. I look like a hobo.
I don't think I'm giving too much away because you said this in an interview, but you said that Mr. Schuester might be putting the moves on Sue Sylvester. Is that a fair thing to say?
Well, the great thing about Matt is that he considers himself. We have nicknames for the cast, and Matt's nickname is always from the pilot on Triple Threat was his nickname, and he has always considered himself, which I find shocking but lovely, to be a dancer first. He says that's his favorite thing. So we wanted to write a scene where he just seduced Sue with dance to get her to leave him alone. So we do that in an upcoming episode. But it's the great fun thing about writing those two together is, first of all, the hair stuff is completely based on the fact that I'm obsessed and very jealous of Matt's hair. And we were talking about it in the writer's room, like, why can't I have his hair? And that's where that came from. But the great thing about that episode is they're both so talented, and our favorite thing to do with Jane is to really show the bottom of that character. And in that episode, she kind of falls in love with Matt, and then we get to go inside her house for the first time where he has to go console her. And it's very moving the way she lives. And I know when we saw the house, we'll just tell you a little bit of the wall-to-wall trophies. It's like an episode of Hoarders with trophies. And
you guys aren't going to tell anybody, right?
It doesn't right. But when Jane and I directed it, it was the most fun on a soundstage.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, she really was the soundtrack in so many ways anyway, so she loved it. She absolutely loved the episode, and the next day, speaking to her and her people, they're like, well, we have a lot more songs. And, and I said, well, you really do. And when Ian and Brad and I were writing it, we had so many more things to put in there. At one point, we had a erotica Justify My Love.
It was so good, so good.
And we had to cut that. So I think if we would ever do a sequel to any of her, and I think she would deserve it, just based on her body of work,
We had to cut it because it was in 8 days.
Slackers.